So Nathan, welcome to the most important part of the house for Mr. and Mrs. DIY, the bar.
Happy days. We've got our beers ready. We're sorted.
Cheers. It's good to meet you.
Cheers, mate. You too.
I met you first time this morning in the park whilst walking the dog. And as I said, I'm a big fan of music. I've been doing a little bit of research about it. Love the tone, love the directions you're going in it, but I wanted to know a little bit more about your background, where it all started off. Yeah. So before we even go into your music career, as a boy in school, what were you like? You naughty, were you good?
Well, as a boy, I looked like a girl. I had really long hair. My mum just wouldn't let me cut it. So I'd walk around. I'd have a few nicknames like Jesus and stuff like that. Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Like all my mates had like short back and sides. I'd be there with the long hair and wonder why I didn't get any girls in school. So yeah.
Well, you've certainly changed now. You look a fine figure of a man, muscular, good looking, handsome, young. It's like looking in the mirror for me. I mean, I'm sitting here and feel like I'm in our bathroom 25 years ago, obviously. But did you have a good childhood at school? Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, it was very good overall. It's sad though when you leave school, you kind of lose contact with friends and stuff. I had really close friends during school that I don't really speak to now, but yeah, it was good. I always had to good.
You should try and get back in touch.
Yeah,
I've recently got in touch with about 5 or 6 of my pals, and they were from my infants, juniors, and a couple of them in seniors, a couple of them went the other ways. And it's only been the last 6 or 7 years we've caught back up, and it's brilliant. It's like we're going back over 35 years ago when I was in school, and it's like it was yesterday. The things you catch, it's like a therapy session. I promise you. Do it. Get in touch with your boys.
Yeah, because you've got loads to talk about, and I guess like
not off.
Yeah, I'll have to do that, to be fair.
Not off. So as a kid then in school, before you knew you were a musician, did you like music?
I'd sing the odd time, but I'd definitely get the mic taken out of me because then I had a dead, I didn't develop till quite late, so I had a dead squeaky voice in school. So there's this video on YouTube of me singing. I'm like, oh, is that actually me? I wasn't the best in school, to be fair. I mean, I remember in year 11, I was in the school Play As You Will. I had a good part in that, and then I auditioned for Grease, got a rubbish part, so I quit.
Okay, so you quit?
Yeah, I wanted Danny Zuko, but it didn't go to plan.
Well, while you were a kid at school, trying to have a little go at singing, was there anyone at that age that you looked up to and would aspire to be?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I listened to I really like listening to Michael Jackson and Elvis, old school. Okay. But I mean, I don't actually, if truth be told, I don't really know that much about old music. A lot of my friends know more than me. I know more about football than music, which is very, very strange because I was brought up in a football background and then music kind of just happened, really. Okay.
So what was it about Michael Jackson and Elvis that you kind of were drawn to?
Just the songs Michael Jackson was just such a vibe. His songs and Elvis, obviously, Can't Help Falling in Love. I mean, that's a classic, isn't it? Everyone knows that song.
Well, Laura and I, well, not Laura and I, but Laura walked down the aisle to me to Can't Help Falling in Love. But it wasn't Elvis's version.
Oh, really?
It was. And I noticed you done a version as well when I looked on your Instagram there. It's a good version.
Cheers.
It was a lady singing it. Oh, put me on the spot now because I can't think the name. But in our hallway, you might not have noticed on the way into the front door, we've got the kind of the lyrics and things there. And I don't even know what to call it. What's the music bars of it?
It's the word we're looking for.
Yeah. Both of us are lost now, aren't we?
Yeah. Told you I don't know much about music. I just
we'll get a shot of that on the way out, guys. But yeah, it's a lady's version. I think it's a Dutch lady who sung a very, very slow, just like an acoustic version. And it is, I'm getting goose pimples.
How did that come about? Did you just find her online?
Yes, Laura, we were thinking of what songs Laura can walk down the aisle to. Yeah. It was only 3 years ago when we got married. And she liked Can't Help Falling in Love with You. And obviously it's more commonly known by Elvis, isn't it? Yeah. Of course. And she started just searching other versions of it and stumbled across this lady. Neither of us have ever heard of her. And the moment she played it to me the first time, I could picture our wedding and her walking down the aisle. I didn't know what her dress was going to look like, but it was, good memories. So that's interesting. You like the Elvis one then?
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned, we touched on it in the park, that you wrote your first song kind of off the back of quite a negative situation, a girl being bullied in school. Yeah. So tell me about how that came about.
So a young girl, I think she was in like year 8, messaged me saying she was getting bullied in school. Could I maybe write a song about it because it could relate to a lot of people? So I was like, so what's happened? What's like the story behind it? And then I then put that into a song, posted it online, and then when I posted that, I had like hundreds of people like messaging, oh, why don't you do a song about this? Why don't you do a song about that? So it gave me like good inspiration on what sort of topics to cover, if you will. Having a little fan base there, and then spreading awareness at the same time as like building a following.
Of course, yeah. And did you know the young girl yourself?
No, it was just literally a girl that messaged me on Facebook. So
that's lovely. That's really nice of you to do that. Yeah. And do you know the girl now? Do you keep in touch with her or anything?
No, I don't know, unfortunately. But I'd like to know it. I'd like to know who it is, because obviously I've had that many messages. I don't really, of course, remember fully, but yeah.
But the song itself kind of went viral, didn't it?
Yeah. I posted it. I went to sleep, woke up in the morning, had like over 10,000 shares, and I'm like, wow, it only had 100 when I went to sleep.
10,000 shares. Yeah, and what are we talking about now, time-wise? That was what? 7-8 years ago?
2014, so
2014, yeah. Okay, wow. And you probably, how many followers did you have then on your social platforms?
I think I had about 20,000.
Okay, 20,000, then you got 10,000 shares.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. So did that then inspire you, right, I need to do this again? It's creating a positive vibe. It's helping people. You're doing what you love the most. This is music, of course. So then were you inspired? Well, let's do it again.
Yeah. I thought like, wow, this is like took off. I didn't know that I'd get loads of shares, like putting a song out there that so many people could relate to.
What sort of comments were coming in on that? Because 10,000 shares, you imagine a lot of comments as well. Can you recall any of them?
Yeah, just people like saying, oh, I can relate to that. That's happened. Like, I'm going through a hard time. This song's actually helping me. And it was just good to see that, because obviously when people are in a dark place, it's good to maybe sometimes listen to a song that you can relate to that could make you feel better. Yeah. So.
Oh, wow, wonderful. So were you working at the time when you did this? Were you working full-time or you were studying?
I was studying. The first job I had, I worked in a uniform, like in the warehouse of a uniform shop. Okay. I was working there for 3 weeks, and during that 3 weeks, I had really bad toothache, so I had to book like 2 days off. Bear in mind, I just started.
Never a good start.
And one day I weren't really concentrating. I think I was going through a breakup. It was like, God, I would have been 17.
Yeah.
So we're always on my phone in my pocket. I kept slightly going to my phone, like texting. She was basically breaking up with me. So then obviously we were all being at work at the same time, and then I ended up putting the uniform boxes in the wrong box, and they got shipped off. So he called me in. There's a guy, I think he was called John. He called me in. And he was like, so do you know you've put the uniforms in the wrong box, and you've took 2 days out of work, and you've only been working 3 weeks. Yeah. I think then I run about £4 an hour, so big money. And then he was like, I don't think this job's for you. Yeah. Like, yeah, you're right, mate. Shook his hand, and then I got sacked.
So goodbye. So it was short-lived, that career there.
Yeah.
Okay, you just did mention then about an ex-girlfriend parting with you.
Yeah.
A lot of people write about songs about ex-girlfriends and things like that. Did that situation ever inspire you to write about ex-girlfriends or anything?
Yeah, like definitely. Like from songs, obviously, you've got to like find heartbreak. You've got to fall for someone to then write stories about it, like songs. So yeah, a lot of my songs have come from past experiences where I feel like writing lyrics down after like experiences have happened helps you through that situation. I feel like music speaks louder than words sometimes in them situations. So yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So does that give you the inspiration to kind of write about your situations? And does it make it easier when it comes to finding the words for the lyrics? Because I know you're talented at that, but it is an extremely hard job to do.
Yeah.
So then past experiences, would they help in that way?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's just good to. It's also good to listen back to the song and think like, oh, we're actually in that. I was in that like headspace and situation at that time, so it's good to like. It gives you flashbacks of it in a good way as well, even if it's a negative song.
It's like a diary.
Yeah, exactly.
A diary looking back on, but in vocals. Yeah. No, that's good then. So let's go back to then. You wrote your first song, and that was kind of in support of the young girl who was bullied, and you led on to other things. Do you find it easier writing about situations that aren't attached to you? Or would you say they're easier about yourself personally?
I'd say it's probably easier like stories that people sent in, because obviously the stories there, it's also gives me a big initiative to write a song about this person, knowing that other people can relate. Whereas me, it feels like if I were to write about myself all the time, it'd be like I'd definitely run out of things to say. And yeah, I feel like it's good to write about other people, because you can write for that one person, but more people might be able to relate. Whereas if I just wrote for myself, not as many people might be able to relate. So
interesting way of it, isn't it? Yeah. And are you inspired by other artists, their lyrics? Any of them kind of?
Yeah, I'd say the best writer right now is probably in pop world anyway, like Julia Michaels. I don't know if you've heard of her. I heard that sings like Issues song.
Yes.
She's a good writer. But yeah, I used to love Ben Howard, but I don't like his new music. So
okay.
I remember going to a gig, and it was literally my favourite artist, and then he sang all new songs that no one had heard. So it got big off an album, and then sang all songs that no one had heard. So it was like brilliant.
It gets a bit deflated then, doesn't it? Because they need to find a balance, right? Don't you? I've myself gone to seen big artists singing, and when they're bringing all the new stuff out, you're not familiar with it. It just doesn't.
What's the best gig you've been to then?
Oh, the best gig I've been to quite a few. I mean, Nebworth was good, Oasis, and Robbie Williams there experienced. Both of them were really good. But I think one of my favourites one as well was at Liverpool Football Club here. Paul McCartney played and done a fantastic gig there, and it was the who was supporting him? I Predict a Riot.
Oh, who sings that?
I can picture the guy now who's one of the reality shows, a judge, wasn't he? And they came on supporting, and they were brilliant.
Is it Kaiser Chiefs?
Kaiser Chiefs, that's right. Yes.
Is it Ricky?
Ricky, yes, yeah. Ricky from the Kaiser Chiefs. I'd say one of that was one of my best experiences there. What about yours?
I'd say I went to see James Blunt recently, and I didn't think I'd like it. It was dead good. Have you heard of a guy called Dean Lewis? You might not have heard of him.
No.
It's like an Australian guy that's just like got big now from a song called Be Alright. It's a big song, but I went when there was literally like 400 people there, and now if he did a gig, it'd be like an arena. So it was dead like intimate show, and it was really good. So,
intimate ones like that.
Yeah.
Really
Which
good.
Obviously you won't probably do any more intimate ones, so good to watch that.
Yeah, it's not. So Nathan, your first job was not that successful with the clothing. Yeah. What was your next jobs after that then?
I'll be honest, that's the only job I've fully had, really, because I was in education, left school, went to college, and then went to uni. And then obviously music came along, or else obviously I'd have had a job in between that. And
you mentioned earlier in the park that you, through the university course, you pulled out of that, didn't you, to take up the music career? How long were you in it for?
I was in university for about 4 or 5 months before I pulled out, rang my university tutor, and I was like, I'm dropping out, I'm going to try and do music full time. She was like, you're stupid, why are you doing that?
Really?
Yeah, because obviously the like, education, which education is, obviously comes first, but I just wanted to really pursue that, and then,
Did you feel in your heart to heart that you could make a career out of the music, and that was not the right thing to do to stay in university?
Yeah, definitely. I thought it's not a good idea to put all your eggs in one basket, but that was like my motto, as if you will. Like I told myself, if this doesn't happen, then there's always going to be something to fall back on. Like, it's not the end of the world. I'm only young, so
that's quite a confident way of looking at things, isn't it?
Yeah, risky, but
it is risky. Yeah.
But I thought
it's paid off.
Yeah, I thought if I work hard enough, then surely something will happen. All the doors that close, surely one will open. So yeah.
So okay, you made that big plunge then from pulling out of a university course to take up a music industry course. How do you then turn that into commercially viable to finance your lifestyle? How did that go about?
So once I started posting videos, I had management that got in contact. Then I had a meeting in a studio with my mum. I'd never been in a studio, so it was all sold me the dream basically. And because I was young and didn't really know much about music or how the industry was working, I signed a deal. Didn't even read the contract, which was really good. Not.
And how old were you then?
I'd have been 18.
18, okay.
So I signed that. It was going really well. Then I was doing tours. I remember on my first tour we got a tour bus.
So you signed up within the management, and then was it get in the studio, create a full LP, was it?
Yeah. So we went in the studio, we got an EP, done a single, and I remember the first single I put out was a song called Smile, which was like about bullying.
Smile about bullying? Yeah.
So I released that. That did pretty well. And then I went on a tour. Yes. And then just carried on recording music, working with different people. So it was all new to me. Like I'd only first got into a studio when I was 18, when I obviously signed that management deal. And yeah, I was kind of learning as I went along. So I was naive to a lot of situations as well. So
well, most of us are at 18 years of age. I'm 49. I'm still naive to many things. But 18, you've signed up with the management. That must feel quite flattering, and all of a sudden you're starting to see a new direction. You've had success from some of the lyrics you've wrote, the songs you've wrote, they've gone viral. Was the pressure then to deliver? You had a high expectation. You've created a song yourself that's gone viral right around the world. And now all of a sudden it's turned commercially. You've got to deliver. What type of pressure was that you were under?
Yeah, when I first released that Smile, it did pretty well. So it's like, obviously you don't want to release the next one and it go from there to there.
When you say pretty well, can you explain that to me?
Yeah, so I think it got, when I first released it, it got inside like the top 40 iTunes charts, which then like...
Oh, wow. That's
yeah, so obviously my first release.
Yeah.
And then I had like labels, like contacting like interest and stuff, like dipping in and out, like, like seeing what I was up to and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
They come and spy on you, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. So that was good. So I was obviously doing something right. And then, and then I thought, obviously, you don't want to go there and then not release anything for ages because obviously, like, people might lose interest or whatever. So I carried on releasing, and then, a few other songs did well, and then just went from there, really.
Great. So how does it work, commercially from that then? Does that management say, right, you're on a set fee, or the record label says, we give you a set amount of money to produce the EP and promote it, deliver it, etc.? Or do you get paid on performance, on the sales and things? How does that work?
Yeah, so the way, because I was it was an independent deal, so it works off percentage, where if it would have been signed to a major, I'd have got an advance and then so on and so forth. So it just worked off, I think I got 80 or 70%. But
so 70-80% of the gross sales of it?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
And then if it was a tour, it'd be like 50-50. But obviously I didn't realise what percentages were fair or not. Because obviously it was the first time I'd ever signed a deal.
You're not to know, are you? And it's not like someone can just ask someone, is it? Not many people know pop stars. You can go and say, teach me the ropes on here. What should I be getting? What shouldn't I be getting?
So I had to like learn as I was going along. Like I didn't know, but I was very naive. Like I'd do a tour and then I'd get a payment, and I wouldn't even like dig into like what was made, what was spent. Now obviously.
Mind me asking why you didn't do
that? Because I was naive. I just trusted the guy that everything would be spot on. And then we got like a tour bus, which probably cost about 15 grand, and it was like I didn't realise then that actually that's going to come out of my pocket. Whereas now, obviously, if I went on a tour, I'd be like, right, cheap hotels, we'll walk to venues.
And I'll carry my own bags. I don't need an entourage.
Just move myself and So I didn't realise that had come out of my pocket because I was naive and, obviously
you're kind of telling me that, and I can't help feeling there's a little bit of a negative situation around that. You're now looking at it thinking, well, I'll carry my own bags, I'll go cheap hotels. Did you not feel it came out fair square after or with the agent?
Yeah, I feel like there was parts that were like, I thought I'd have made more at that show where, and then I'd ask for like books to see all the insides, and
it's a breakdown, isn't it? A breakdown of the turnover and the costs.
Yeah, and then it'd be like, no, trust me, it's all right. And then I'd be naive and be like, yeah, all right, so. But I wish I could go back in time and be in that situation again and change.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing if we could all go back in time, I mean, I'm sure we've all... Well, we learn from our mistakes, isn't it? The main thing is if it doesn't, kind of stop you in your tracks from doing what you're doing and you can continue to go on. You just sometimes got to look back at it as if it was a negative time. I've learned from it, so I've gained something. Might not have gained the finance that I wanted, but I've learned from it. I take it it's not with this agent now.
Yeah, we've been together now 10 years. It's going great. Yeah, no, we parted ways. I think I was with that management for 2.5 years.
Okay.
But yeah, that ended. But it never ends well when you leave a management, even when you give like the 3-month notice that you're required to give.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just because they don't want to lose their artist or whatever. But
of course,
yeah, it was a learning curve. But obviously the guy still did good stuff as well as like putting my music out there and tours and stuff. Because even though I didn't gain much profit from music at the time, like the experiences I'll keep with me, like the 3-week tour, amazing. Yeah. So I mean, I say about the tour bus being expensive and me not earning much because of that, but I guess that was an experience because we lived on the tour bus for 3 weeks, which was interesting. So yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So one thing that kind of maybe concerns me a little bit then, you were naive at 18 signing up with them. You went with the management. You felt as if you were maybe shortchanged in one way. How does that work with the royalty side of it? Because you've written some of them songs.
Yeah.
Would you still keep ownership to them and still manage to make money off them further down the line? Or did that end when that relationship ended with that management?
Yeah, it's kind of complicated situation because some of my songs I'm still owed money for that I've not actually received yet. So that's like ongoing behind the scenes.
Really? Name them, shame them.
So that's obviously that's happening behind the scenes. But what can you do? Everything's a learning curve, I guess. But yeah.
How does that make you feel about the industry and that can happen to young, talented artists that may not be as business savvy? You know, is that frustrate you? Yeah, because obviously anyone that gets offered a contract and like goes into a studio for the first time, they're not going to fully read the contract because they're just like, oh, let's dive in. Like, this is great. I want to sign this. Get stuff. Get the ball rolling from the off. But it's if I'd give anyone advice, it'd be to read contracts properly. And I was about to ask you, what advice would you give to the next new up and comers? You know.
Yeah, it'd be to read contracts and know the inside. Get a breakdown every month of what you're making and
maybe get some legal advice on it as well.
Legal advice on the contracts.
I know myself, I've been involved with contracts and sometimes you can't even read and understand the terminology in it. You know, it's worth getting an expert to give you a bit of guidance on it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the advice I'd give. That don't be naive. And also keep a creativity side of things. Like don't change, because obviously some people sign to managements or labels and they get their outfits changed, hair changed, the persona, the way they act, which I mean, I wouldn't.
Epstein wanted to do it with the Beatles, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. It's happened with loads, but I mean, a lot of people get successful off it, but I guess it's changing that person. There's been loads of people that's been like signed before and then they've tried to change them and then they've just left that deal where then they think, what if they would have stayed there? But then you've got to be true to yourself sometimes, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I remember one request coming to me once from the BBC shortly after Big Brother, and I'd done hundreds of shows and each year has kept getting re-signed up. And somebody in the BBC suggested to my agent that Craig should take allocution lessons, because I had a harsh Scouse accent and, you know, my English is appalling and terrible. And my agent was like, no, you know, there's millions and millions of people who voted for him because he won Big Brother. And he sounded like that. All of a sudden he changes.
Yeah, you can't go posh now, can you?
No. All of a sudden he changes and nobody wants him on any of the shows.
Imagine.
Yeah. Okay, so despite the few negative side of things like that with agencies and learning curves, let's call it, you had some great experiences on the tour bus. You learnt a lot from it. What was next after that for you?
So after the tour, I worked on a live album. So there was I think there was 10 songs, all acoustic songs. And we released that. That did pretty well. And then I went on another tour, but this tour was completely different. It went from flashy, all the money spent on the tour, which didn't make me really much profit, to we went on a tour for, I think it was 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks again, but we stayed in hostels, which kept the price down. And we did 3 dates in Ireland, 2 in Scotland, did Edinburgh, Glasgow, and then did Dublin, Limerick and Galway, which, God, that was the best. That was the best time ever. I remember doing a show in Galway, and dead intimate show. And up front there were 2 police officers, which in Ireland they call them guards. Yeah. So after the show, did like meet and greet and stuff, and they were like, our granddad's got a pub. Do you want to? Because we didn't have out on the next day. They were like, do you want to come to our pub and for a few drinks? So we felt like celebrities. They were treating us to free drinks. It was brilliant. And then the next night we had a show after that. A few of I had a band, so a few of them went to a club, and one of them had joggers on, and we didn't realise how powerful this guy was. The granddad. Yeah.
He was the godfather.
Yeah. turns out we queued up for this club, and the guy was like, he's not coming in. He's got joggers. So we went down to the pub. We were like, oh, he's not letting us in. He's not letting us into the club. So the granddad that owns the pub, he goes, I own that club, come with me. so we got to...
That usually helps, doesn't it? Open doors, yeah.
So it's like, you've got 10 seconds to let these boys in. I own this club, so he lets us in. He's bouncing around with his joggers on. So yeah, that was
like, you own the place.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So that sounded like it was good, exciting times on stage. What is the most exciting part of a tour like that? You know, you've got the travel. You said you come down a level with the hostels. Is it the stage performance, the build up, the jeopardy to it? What is it that makes you buzz?
Yeah, it's like it's meeting, because usually tours you do like a meet and greet before, so like people that's but like it's like an extra price to do a meet and greet before and before the show. Yeah. And then you meet the people that are actually supporting you, like have a good chat with them, and then when you're on stage, like it's just people cheering and like people singing songs back that I've written. Like that's really? The most surreal thing. Yeah.
Oh wow! How does that feel?
Yeah, amazing. Like the fact that people actually know my songs. Like
yeah.
Because on tour I just do originals, which obviously luckily goes down well with people that's got tickets because they know my songs. So that's pretty surreal.
Yeah, I remember I think taking my sister to one or a few actually of Robbie Williams concerts. I've had the pleasure of meeting Robbie and known reasonably well. And I remember being in like an enclosure at the side of the stage, and when Robbie, done in most of his performance, when he sung Angels, as soon as the music started to come in, he sat on the edge of the stage and didn't sing it. The entire audience, 50 or 60,000 people. I remember saying to my sister, how must that feel for an artist to not even have to sing one lyric in there and the whole audience knew the words? Yeah.
I feel like when it's someone's tour as well, I feel like that's less pressure because everyone's there to see you. So even if you do mess up, they'll be like, you could do anything. You could just start laughing on stage and they'd love it. Like, especially in Robbie Williams' situation, I feel like there's more pressure when you've not made it, because obviously then you've got to make an impression. Whereas if you're like Robbie Williams, where you've already made it, then it's like people are going to sing along to my songs anyway. So
yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword. I remember actually having a conversation with Robbie about, he was saying to me, I went on Big Brother not wanting to be famous or not wanting to work on TV or anything, and he'd spent all his life working hard to get that limelight and be famous, and all of a sudden I win this reality program and I was getting equally as much attention as him and was as popular, well known as him, recognisable as him, let's say the words. And the conversation we were having over a few beers was, how hard it has been for him to work hard to get the recognition and to get the fan base and the following. And for me, it was a bit of a cheat, really. You know what I mean? Yeah. I went on a reality show and didn't even know it was growing and growing and growing, but all of a sudden got that recognition. But for me, I looked at it as, it don't matter for me. I didn't want it, but I've got my profile that high. There was only kind of one way for me, come down sort of thing. I got my kind of plateau in the DIY kind of sector and building and things, which is good. But where I've thought with you mentioned before about a double-edged sword is Robbie's got to work hard to maintain that, because he's got expectations. He sells millions of albums, I would imagine, and everything he produces and brings out has to really top that, because then they start going down. It's pressurizing for them, So where you're thinking you've got more pressure on to build it all up, I would imagine when they're at that level, to maintain it and keep that, would be quite hard. So who's your ideal person you inspire to be or you admire? you know, at that level. They don't even have to be at that level.
I mean, I feel like how Ed Sheeran did it's like crazy. Like he was homeless, like sofa surfing, busking, and then I remember seeing a documentary where there was a show called Britannia High, and he went on that, and it didn't get through. It was like a competition, and look at him now. He's like the biggest.
Doesn't get much bigger, does he?
Yeah. Like
he's collaborated and mixed with pretty much every artist out there.
Yeah,
he can have the pick of the litter, can't he? To sing
exactly.
With. Yeah.
So, because a lot of people, like, obviously they're brought up in a music background where he wasn't, so...
Do you dream of getting that big?
I'm ambitious, but I'm a realist. He's like, God, who's going to be as big as him anytime soon? Do you know what I mean? That's...
Never know.
That's crazy. Like, God, I think he sold like 4 nights at Etihad, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's... Wonder if he likes being that famous though. Wonder if you could say to him, you can have all the money you've made if you're not famous, because a lot of people don't want to be, do they? As you said, when you went on Big Brother, you didn't want to be.
Yeah. I mean, for me, when I first come out, because it was so new and very overwhelming, it was you know, it was a wonderful, exciting, but a very scary moment for me. I remember, you know, getting chaperoned around with bodyguards and things. And although everywhere I went, every personal appearance we had, there was thousands of people, you know. Yeah. I remember one in Liverpool here, my first time coming back to Liverpool, and I was doing a Big Brother book signing. And I don't know if you know where Lord Street was, the front page of the newspaper the next day was a picture of 10,000 people just covered the whole part of Liverpool. They brought in, I had 6 bodyguards. They brought in, I think, 46 stewards from Liverpool Football Club. The police brought the riot police in, and they had to stop the event before it started because they couldn't control the crowds. And the front page of the Liverpool Echo the next day was Beatlemania again. Craig returns to Liverpool. So as much as it was very flattering for me, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
But one thing I experienced was, although everywhere I went, people screaming your names and shouting you and wanting to meet you, I never felt so lonely in all my life. Yeah, because the people around me were all paid to be protecting me and chaperoning me around, and press officers and photographers and things and security, but they weren't really my friends. Yeah. So I wanted to experience all what I was seeing and doing, but with my friends and my family to enjoy, you know. And then as I was only obviously for the first kind of 3 or 4 months, it was to that height. But then when it started to plateau down, I started to enjoy it more because the pressure wasn't there. You know, I could go to a service station and go to the toilet and come out, and there wouldn't be 50 people standing outside the bathroom door waiting to say hello to you, sort of thing, you know, which that then becomes a problem.
Yeah, that's
you know. So people handle it differently, you know, and, you know, if people work their way up and get to that, they've probably built an immune system up.
Whereas yours just
handling the audience and the crowd and things. Yeah. So, and that's like what I was talking to Robbie about. The difference between it and things. But do you think you could handle the level that Robbie's got if you worked hard enough and it came your way?
Well, the way you're talking, could I handle what you were like when you came out of Big Brother? Probably not. Like that's. I remember. God, I remember seeing. Who was it when Justin Bieber was younger? All stuff, because he didn't really have a childhood. Like some people's not even had a childhood. Like you see like videos of them walking out of an airport and there's just like thousands of people around them, which is. Yeah, well, I'm guessing that's what it was like with you when you came out.
I think for me, when I come out of Big Brother, because I'd run a building company for 10 years, I was a bit more business savvy and I could see it for what it was, you know, and thought, well, it's a new opportunity. Financially, it's quite rewarding. So I'll give it a go and see how long it lasts, you know, sort of thing. But I did know a lot of people in the music industry who were very successful in that 2000 era. You know, I'm still around today doing music. I won't mention their names, you know, when I was friends with them, partying with them, but seeing the problems that they were getting with the big managements and the big record labels and how controlling they were and domineering of them. And it wasn't kind of easy for them, some of the young pop groups and pop bands, and where they thought they were making millions, the reality of it is, like what you said, you get your £1 million contract and all of a sudden...
You have to pay it all back for
after the end of the year... You cost that for security, that for hotels, that for, you know, tours, this, that and the other, and all of a sudden that £1 million has shrunk right the way down.
You don't realise in the moment that they won't realise in the moment that, oh, I'm actually paying for all that. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah. So going back to your music career, what's kind of been the highlights of it? Would you say you've experienced?
The highlights, it's probably like 3. So the tour, which I'd say the second, not the one with the tour bus, the one where I did like 3 dates in Ireland. That tour, even though we were staying in like hostels and stuff, it was a cool way to see like how to, because it was I think that's like the proper way to do it. Like keep costs down as much as you can. Like experience like hostels and stuff. What you're not used to, because it's like out your comfort zone. And then that tour were great. The stories that I have from that. Vegas, when I went Vegas, we to see Tyson Fury, went with Billy Saunders and a few other guys. That were a really good experience.
And I've seen a clip where Tyson Fury asked you to get up on the stage at a press conference and sing.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I met Billy from. He messaged me online. Billy Saunders.
Yes, yeah.
Asking if I could sing at a little lad's funeral, a little lad called Denver. So I travelled up to Norwich to meet a really good guy called Benny, who knows Billy really well, and he got close to little Denver as well. So I sang at that funeral. We went on a night out in Norwich before it, so got like pretty close then, and then sang at little lad's funeral. It weren't easy, obviously, singing at a funeral. And then kind of got friendly with him then, and then Billy had a fight in Stevenage, and then I saw Tyson in hotel room, hotel lobby, sang to him then, and then
he's a big man, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a unit and a half.
Shaking his hand, and I felt like a little boy. And then we ended up. I flew out with Billy and a few others to Vegas. Ended up singing on plane like 40,000 feet high. Absolute. Well, I'm scared of planes anyway, so having to sing as well. Yeah.
Did that take the nerves away? Because you're in your comfort zone singing?
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah, like I hate flying, honestly. Like, I don't know what you're like with flights, but I hate it. I've watched too many documentaries. And just before I didn't actually pay a penny to go to Vegas. Luckily,
oh wow.
Yeah, a good...
The perks have been successful.
Luckily, because I wouldn't have been able to afford Vegas. It's expensive, especially then. And then... It was a guy called Benny that actually paid for like my accommodation and flights over there, and he actually upgraded us to business class just before, which I'd never flown business class before.
Where did it all go wrong?
I know. So then we landed, and then that happened at a press conference. Tyson Fury just asked me to sing front and centre, and then
Did you know you were going to sing, or did you just off the cuff?
Not a clue. I
suppose when Tyson Fury tells you to do something, you do as you're told, don't you?
Exactly, yeah. So I got up there, sang my little light out, and then I had loads of my mates messaging me like, "You've just been shown on IFL, like YouTube channel and stuff." Like, oh god,
American channels.
Yeah.
Oh wow. And did anything come about from that? Did that help your music career in any way?
In a sense of like who I've met, not even to do music, just like boxers I've met, or like people that I once I look up to in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting and how random it came about, because I think that I'd be meeting like singers and stuff, not boxers, but it's just random how it comes about. But yeah, that trip was amazing. Like Vegas is a completely different. Like you've probably been, haven't you?
Yeah, many times. Yeah.
So yeah, as you know, it's a crazy place. It's not like here. So yeah, that was a good memory. Trying to think of my third best moment. I mean, the first time when I got 4 yeses on X Factor, and like as soon as I finished that performance, because you're waiting for like literally 8 hours straight, and the nerves. God, I've never been so nervous. And when I got 4 yeses, and then the feedback, and then Louis Tomlinson from One Direction ran from behind, and
I've seen the clip. Give you a little 1-to-1, doesn't he? Hold on to you.
That were really good experience. So yeah, say that as well.
Yeah, so. I was going to mention the reality TV side of things and the X Factor. So how did the X Factor come about?
So they have researchers who like contact people who they think could be good on the show.
So you didn't apply?
No.
The researchers contacted you?
Yeah. But no one actually knows this, but I actually auditioned for, this was before I was taking music seriously, really. I auditioned for X Factor.
Yeah.
and I got 2 yeses. This didn't get shown on TV. I think there was Sharon, Louis, Nicole, and Simon.
Okay.
And I went on and sang an original, and Simon were like, you sound like an internet singer. I thought, well, I am. And Nicole liked me, Louis liked me, and then it was down to Sharon, and she was like, I feel like that song could be a country hit, but it's a no from me. We're like, right, sound.
Okay.
So I got forward, got 2 yeses, 2 nos, and then a researcher rang me the next day saying there's auditions in Birmingham. Can we forget that happened? Scrap all the footage from that and audition in 2 days in Birmingham. I was like,
really?
Well, yeah, I swear. I was like, well, Simon's just like ripped me up, ripped me apart.
Dye me hair, put a different shirt on, turn up at Birmingham the next day.
So I said, obviously, I thought I can't do that. Like, it was too raw as well. I'd just been rejected, and then 2 days later they were asking me to come on, and then I finally went on again, and then obviously Simon mustn't have noticed me because I got a yes. So yeah.
So nobody knew you'd actually been on the X Factor. You'd been rejected.
Yeah.
And then you got asked back again. So that's mixed emotions, I would imagine. Firstly, tell me about how it felt being rejected.
It was, I remember I got like 2 yes, 2 no's, which obviously meant I weren't through. And then Dermot tried to speak to me and I weren't having any. I just walked off.
Did he?
I didn't know what to say because I was like, because it was weird because like, it was like the researchers cheers man, had like bigged me up to do well. And obviously I was like, oh, I thought I was gonna get through, not to like sound big with how like the meetings went with the researchers and stuff, and how pre-auditions went. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened. They rang and said like Simon was having a bad day. Like, were you auditioning in 2 days? And I was like, I couldn't do that. Mm-hmm. It was that was too much because then I was like, well, what if I get rejected? Getting rejected twice in 2 days.
Yeah. It's kind of hitting you while you're down, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah. So yeah, no one knew about that.
Okay, so as an artist who's feeling quite knocked down by that, how do you build yourself back up?
Well, it was hard at first. I was like, oh, I can't get through X Factor, so I'm even trying to sort of pursue it as a profession. But yeah, I just kept at it, and then I thought I had it in my head that I'd try again because I thought I don't want an X Factor experience to be like that. Like I'd like to try it again, which obviously I did, and yeah, that was a really good experience. So it kind of outshadowed the bad experience.
The first time round with them, yeah. So what happened second time round then?
So I went on. Well nervous. Like I was waiting at the side at stage before I went on, and like the judges went for a fag break, as you do. And then Robbie shook my hand. He said, "Good luck." Louis did. Ida just because it were Ida, Robbie's wife. On that year. She just smiled at me, and then Simon just walked past me. Like, oh my god! Like, does he recognise me? I'm getting a no straight away. And then
was that on your mind? Is Simon going to recognise you?
That's why I didn't want to. I was going to sing an original, but I ended up singing Rise Up by Andra Day. And I remember I was torn between an original and that, but then I thought, when Simon does that and stops you, I thought, if he stops me on an original, I'll be like gutted. So I didn't risk it, which I wish I would have done an original now. But then I remember second I sang, Louis had like a massive smile on his face, so that gave me a bit more, because I thought, oh, he must think I'm good then. So then I carried on singing, and then, he gave me like a mad compliment, like saying like, if you've got an unbelievable voice. If you ever recorded on track, it'd sound great. I thought, well, I've already got songs out. But
I actually remember watching that at the time.
Yeah.
On the television, I remember Louis
with my jazzy jacket.
Yeah. So did Simon remember you? Did he put two and two together?
I don't think so. But
do you know what sticks in my mind about Simon Cowell? I've only met him about 4 or 5 times.
Only 4 or 5.
And in about 2005, I took my mum to the Pride of Britain Awards, and Simon was there, and we were kind of crossing going to our tables, and I said, "Hi Simon, we had a little chat." He was asking how my career was going and things, and I said, "Oh, can I introduce you to me little mum here?" And introduced her to me mum. I said, "This is me mum Brenda," and Simon went, "I've met all the family now, haven't I, Craig?" Now, about 4 years prior to that, I introduced them to my sister Beverly and her 2 children. Kelly and Lauren, they were, toddlers at the time. And I thought to myself, oh my word, Simon's brain must be like a machine.
Yeah, I do remember
the
that.
amount of people that Simon meets, you know, and 4 years on it was since to meet him. And when I introduced him to Mum, he had remembered my sister's name and the children. And he knew that I only had a little small family, you know, and that was basically it. Yeah. And he'd said, oh, I've met all the family now. How's your sister? And he actually said, how's Beverly and the kids? And I was like, what?
That's crazy.
Yeah. And afterwards, I remember calling my sister Bev the next day, saying, Simon Cowell remembered your name. And she went, well, I think I did pinch his bum, you know, when I was chatting to him. So maybe he's remembered that.
That's crazy.
Hence the reason I don't take my sister there. But anyway, moving on. So Simon didn't recognise you, no?
No. So I got that compliment off Louis, and then I just said, we asked for a moment you gave. I was like, well, that's nice. And then Robbie were like, you've got a great voice, but I think you lack personality. I was like, and then Louis were like, he's got loads of personality, like he's pouring out personality. And then
so Louis behind you, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Clearly, yeah.
And then he said, you're one of the reasons why I won the boys this year. Like, I was like, that's a big compliment. And then he got the boys. I remember the day where, so loads of people got yeses, but then it was the deliberation day. So loads of people had to travel down to London just to find out whether if they got through to sixth chair or not. Yeah. So I was in a room, I was looking around, I was like, yeah, surely I'm safe here. Like, there was some great singing, because I'd recognised them from their audition. So I was like, these are well good, like surely I'm, and then luckily enough I was through, so half got through, half didn't. And then it was like, would have been 1 o'clock in the morning. They ordered us pizza and stuff, because we were waiting around for ages, and obviously they take your phone off you.
Do they take your phone off you? Yeah.
So we're in
this. Because this is, if we get it right now, the structure of this, it's all the pre-recorded stuff is gone, hasn't it? This is live now, happening each Saturdays, isn't it? Yeah, right.
Oh no, yeah. On Irving on TV every Saturday.
Where it gets through the 6 chairs.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Okay. So it was the deliberation episode, and then the week after was like obviously 6 chairs. So I got through that, and then you go back down to London for like a week, and you work with like different like vocal coaches and stuff, pick the right song. And they were like, I think you should sing this song. I was like, I'm not singing that song, because I had to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You have to be.
What song was it? Do you mind me asking?
I think it was like Dance with My Father again, but dead like slow. But I was like, I'm not really feeling that. Can I sing it? I wanted to sing All of Me by John Legend, but they didn't. I think they have to have rights to that song to be able to, for you to be able to sing it. So I ended up singing Say Something.
I think it's, I mean, I'm not an expert in this field, but what I've known and learned from 20 years of the reality style business and TV programs and formats, they have a particular structure. They already planned and pre-produced partly who's going through.
Yeah.
And they need certain people look a certain way, sound a certain way to fulfill their entertainment program, you know, and within that structure of pre-producing all of that, they already know what artist songs they're playing. They will have some form of, might be, you know, Cowell's company owns some of them, you know, it might be the record labels they're working with, or they might not play the ones they're working against, you know, type of thing. There's a lot of, let's say, the mechanics going on behind the scenes that nobody really knows about.
I feel like sometimes they stitch people up, though. I feel like they sometimes pick songs for people.
I didn't quite want to say that, but you're probably right. Yes,
I was thinking that, because there was like, I won't mention names, but they're a really good singer, and they chose a song for him, and it was like, why? He's got a great voice. He'd have got through if he didn't pick that song, and he ended up proper going off on the song. And he didn't get through, but remember after I sang Say Something, like Simon actually stood up, so it was like going from...
Oh really? You got Simon to stand up?
It was going from like 2 years ago to him ripping into me to him standing up, so Louis stood up and he stood up, so I was second on though. There was like 18 lads I think, so I thought, I'm not getting through here because I'm second on.
Still a lot more to see, isn't it?
Go. Like, so I got a seat. I was sat on that seat for like, bear in mind it's in like an arena, so there's thousands there. I had to sit on that seat for 3 hours, not move, like just look at like what.
Really?
Yeah, and then it kept going on and on.
The viewers at home don't see all this,
exactly. Yeah. And then obviously they go for breaks and stuff, so you've got to stay in that. Obviously that same seat for it to roll with the footage. And And then I remember sat there like, surely I'm going to go soon, because this. I was sat there for like 3 hours. People just kept
I often watch the programme at that point when you see some of the early contestants like yourself getting through on there, knowing they've still got another dozen or so artists to perform. They've got to have, that's part of the show. People getting the seats, filling the seats. Oh dear, now we've got to take one off. It's that build-up, drop-down. It's that emotional roller coaster that the producers structure and work hard to get. So sometimes you feel you are a bit of a, a piece in this game type of thing that, unfortunately,
Yeah, so it kept going on, and then a lad sang, and then they asked the audience, like, so who should we get rid of? So they're doing numbers on their fingers, and I'm seeing a few people do my number. I'm like,
how dare you? Put it down.
So then I got moved, and I'm quite, I mean, I come across confident, but deep down I'm quite a shy person. And so I got moved, and I was like, can I sing another song? I'm not going to give up my seat that easy. It didn't show this on camera. So I sang another song. I sang 1,000 Years, and it was going really well. And then there's a note at the end, which I'd not really practiced. The nerves got to me, and I really effed it up.
And you weren't planned to do it, so it was a bit off the
exactly.
cuff.
I hardly practiced for it. I just thought...
Dangerous but brave.
Yeah. I didn't even think in my head that if I got moved, I was going to do another song. And then, so I sang that and gave it everything. Could have done much better. But then he gave me a seat back.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had my seat twice.
Talk about emotional roller coaster up and down.
And then as soon as I had my seat back, there were like 3 more lads, and I thought, I'm gone, but you know what? Good experience. I gave it my all.
Yeah. Good for you.
But if I'd have smashed that song, I think I'd have got through. But
But
that's that.
Phew, that is an interesting story. So you just mentioned then that, you seem confident on the surface, on the stage, on the limelight, but you really deep down inside, you're a little bit shy or unconfident.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I feel like in school I was always in like popular group of people, but I was always the end of the joke. So like I'd always get the banter thrown at me. So that kind of made me a bit shy. And in school, no one really knows this, but I had like a twitch where I used to like do that with my head, and I used to like flick my eyes and stuff, which I think it were a nervous complaint in school. Yeah. And a few lads clicked onto it and then started taking mick out of me for it, and then that like made it a bit worse. And then I don't know, that made me a bit shy. And then I feel like it was nervous.
Quite surprised me, because the small amount I have seen you on the reality show and then on the internet, you don't come across that way. Your confidence in yourself, your voice, it's good. You can hit the great notes in there. I wouldn't have imagined that, no.
Yeah, so that's the truth. I mean, it's kind of not a character you play, because obviously it's true. I'm real online. Like I'd never like change into anyone else just for the sake of that. But I just try to be a bit more confident online.
So what's the preparation you would do then to do the big performance? When you've got that pressure and the TV cameras are there, Sam Cowell is sitting in front of you in the panel. You're feeling a little bit insecure, let's say, a little nervous naturally. What's your secret to do it?
Yeah, it was. I remember waiting, and I was like, I can't do this. And then as soon as it came, I was like, I kind of blacked out. I don't even really remember my audition until I watched it on TV. So
a bit tunnel vision too.
Yeah.
The pressure. What's going on around
it was like watching it for the first time when I first saw it back on TV, and I was like, God, I actually came across well, but like quite confident in like an awkward way.
A few people I've spoken to who say they're a little bit insecure and not confident going on there. They see themselves, and when we look back at ourselves, we've all done it when you're on TV or radio or the internet, and you look back and you're looking for negative things about yourself. I don't like how I look on my hair, whatever, my body or something, where generally other people aren't looking at that at all. And it's our own demons in our mind that are telling us, I didn't do that quite right, I didn't do that as good as I could have. But reality on the surface of it, nobody notices that. But it's overcoming that little bit of a demon in ourselves to have a word with yourself and tell you, I don't look like that, I don't sound like that, I know I can deliver it and I know I can perform, Do you ever get them feelings you've got to override it?
Yeah, I remember after the audition, the first thing I did was looking for comments as well, what people had said. So I was looking at typed my name into Twitter, and then like loads of people were tweeting, and I'd look for like a negative comment in that. Like I wouldn't the way I work is like, I could get 100 deep down. No one really knows this, but I could get 100 nice comments, and then I will dwell on the one bad comment.
Do you mind me asking why?
I don't know. Like, obviously, that's a bit of insecurities, maybe. I don't know, but
it's a little bit of insecurity. But you know, it also, if you try to look at things on a positive note, it's sometimes a bit of a perfectionist. You know, you can sing, you know you can sing. You wouldn't have got this far if you couldn't sing. We all know you can sing, we've heard you. You're looking at the 100 comments, which are nice and flat. And I've read some of your comments, and they're very respectful, and they're very flattering to you, which is great, you know. But if you're looking for that odd one, instead of trying to think that's a negative about yourself, if someone is criticising something, you know, one part of your mind in a professionalism way is thinking, okay, well, I want to try and find a fault because I want to fix that fault.
Yeah.
If someone's saying I'm a bit too high pitch on that note, on that part of the song, or I was, you know, maybe whatever, shirt was too tight on that thing, I'll wear a different shirt next time. And I try to say to people, look for a positive in the negative if you're feeling negative.
Yeah.
You know, about that.
Yeah. I shouldn't really look at that because
you were an artist, and artists are perfectionists. They always want to better what they're doing, and people get better at giving time. More practice makes perfect, as you know.
Yeah, and I have a habit of looking at other artists that are probably doing better than myself, thinking, why am I not on that level, like dwelling on stuff like that? And I'm like, oh, sugar, I'm running. Like, I'm only 26, so I've still got time, but I'm like, oh, am I running out of time where I need to get a hit song, or, you know, or I overthink a lot of situations, but
you're never running out of time. Never, ever running out of time. So, Nathan, I took you into my little world before, showing you a bit of DIY in there, because, of course, you've got your new house that you're going to be buying. I don't know if you know this. I've had a little dabble in the music industry, and I'll be quite honest, I can't sing. This is going to really upset you. When I won Big Brother, somebody wrote a Christmas ballad song for me to sing, and I did that with Warner Music. And I had great fun doing it, a day and a half, recorded the video and things like that for it. And they signed me up for a £500,000 album deal. And after producing the first song, which went into the chart, number 12 at this time of year, for me, I wasn't a singer, and I just signed a contract with the BBC for doing X amount of makeover programs. So, you know, it was a song we done for charity. We ended up raising £40,000 for the Down Syndrome Society. So I looked at it that way. Well, it's a bit of fun. It's an experience. I can't sing. Technology can be tweaked to make me sound half decent, you know. And they did do. And one of my funny memories from it was I was walking down this village. I won't say the name of the village. It's where Liam Gallagher lives. And I'm a fan of Oasis. You know, I do love the music and things. And I seen Liam walking towards me. And I'd not long been out the house, so I was still very recognisable. And as Liam's kind of swagger comes walking along, I looked at him, I said, hello, Liam, and he went, all right, man, how are you doing? I was like, I'm good, thank you. And how's that show you've been on? And I was like, yeah, the Big Brother, you know, it was fun, it was good and all that. And he went, you got a Christmas single out? And I was like, yeah. And he went, has it gone in the charts yet? I said, yeah, it went in at 12. And he went, it's not that. And I went, it'll be out next week. And sure enough, it was out next week. But it was a great experience. It was good to do it. I ended up having to pay to sign me. I ended up having to pay to get me out of the album deal. Because it wasn't for me. And, you know, I wanted to carry on with the DIY and the building side of things. But on the back of that, I ended up then getting into another 2 Christmas singles, believe it or not. So, embarrassed to say, I've been involved with 3 Christmas singles. One was my own at this time of year. The other one was Christmas My Arse with Ricky Tomlinson. Oh. So, playing the air guitar, I think, with the spirit level with Ricky. He's a good dear friend of mine, Ricky is. And then the other one was, do you remember Bo Selector?
Yeah.
Do you remember Proper Crimbo?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Lee Francis, of course, who was doing Bo Selector, I had a scene in every one of the Bo Selector shows. So when he got his Christmas single commissioned, he was like, you know, I want you in it, sort of thing. So it was funny, and I don't even often talk about this, but one bizarre experience going to meet the not the book publishers, sorry. That was another occasion with Lee Francis, but going to meet the record label when Lee was pitching, Ave Marian, I'd say, was pitching for the song. I went to the record label's office, big posh one in London and all that, with Avid Marion. And we'd had a chat beforehand. He had his storyboard of how he'd seen his Christmas single going. He'd had all the lyrics written for it. And the idea was I went in, and I don't know if you've seen Bo Selector, but I was his prisoner, locked in his cupboard. So I went in handcuffed to a meeting, right, with all these top execs from this record label. And they knew me. So as soon as I walked in, they were kind of like, "How are you, Craig? How are you, Craig?" Went out to shake me hand. "Lovely to see you." And see you for 2 or 3 years, you know. My brief was, don't shake hands with them. Turn away. And stay handcuffed. And Avid Marion was like, "Do not talk to the Craig. He is my Craig. Don't Craig, don't you talk to these people." Pulled me down, and I sat through a 2.5-hour meeting, a storyboard of all the song while Lee was pulling me around on handcuffs. And I didn't say a single word, which is quite hard for me to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's enough about me and my music background. It was short-lived, let's say, but it was fun. Now, I want to know about this new EP.
Yeah.
That you've got coming out in April, is it?
Yeah, mid-April.
Okay, so how long have you been working on it?
I started working on this like kind of the start of lockdown. Wrote most of the songs from home, and then went into the studio when obviously I could.
Yeah. So you started recording it before lockdown?
Kind of just when lockdown started. So
okay.
like when the full lockdown went into place. The first song I wrote was a song called City That I'm Lost In, which is already been released. So the way it works with this EP, like each single gets released, and then the last song, then the EP comes out. So the EP's on pre-order now, yes, while songs are getting released, if that makes sense. So
I see, okay. So how many songs are on the EP?
There's four songs on the EP.
Yeah. And how many have been released?
2 so far. So City That I'm Lost In has been released, and a song called 1982 has been released, and then there's 2 more to come out. Okay, 2 more to come out. Yeah. So firstly, tell me a little bit about 1982. So 1982 is kind of, I wanted it to be like a vibe that's like looking back, wishing that everything was as simple as like the 1980s, where like you didn't really have a care in the world, and the song like says like take me back to 1982.
Were you born in the 1980s?
No.
That makes me feel old.
But I guess then was the social media? There weren't social media right then.
No, there was certainly not social media.
Or
no,
phones
not
or anything
the
like that. So everything was.
We did have phones. I mean, we had lights and things like that. You know, we could turn on a switch.
Oh, right.
Turn on lights.
So you had TVs and that.
Just about, yeah. I mean, where I come from in Liverpool, we were quite poor. In the 1980s, we still pointed at planes. We didn't know what they were. Just flew past. So go on, your version of 1982 inspired you to write a song.
Yeah, so it's like the chorus is like, long flights, tired eyes, never felt so alive, like paradise is what it's like, basically like doing everything that you want to do while feeling free, basically. Like now there's stigmas on a lot of things, like social media plays, but like I wanted it to be like when there was no distractions and you could do whatever you wanted, really. Like, and it's like take me back to 1982 was like things was more simple and you felt a bit more free, really. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the other one called? Something the City.
City That I'm Lost In.
City That I'm Lost In. Tell me about City That I'm Lost In then.
City That I'm Lost In. I wrote that in lockdown, and it's about like going away with someone that you're really, really close to, someone you love effectively, and it's like I wanted it to be like just you two going away on like a trip. Like the main line's like, you are the city that I'm lost in. It's like no matter what city you go to with that girl, you'll always be like lost. You'll feel like lost with her, like nothing else matters. It's just you two like lost in a city, and just going with the flow. And
that's nice.
So that's kind of the vibe of that song.
And have you experienced that?
Yeah, definitely. Like,
and can I ask who and when?
Haley, my girlfriend now, so that's who that song's about. So yeah.
Oh, very nice. Haley must be very proud.
Yeah, lucky girl.
She does sound a lucky girl. Okay, so the first 2 songs are released now. How well have they done?
So City that I'm lost in's been out, I think 2 months, and it's got nearly 70,000 streams on Spotify, which is good.
Oh wow, that's brilliant. Yeah,
it got like near the top 50 iTunes charts when it came out, which is good. And then 1982. It's weird because on EPs they can't go into like because it's on pre-order. They get to listen to the song, but then they get obviously when the EP's out they get to listen to all the songs. 1982 is just on Spotify, so it's not out on iTunes to listen to yet. So like, I released 1982. I'm like, where is it in iTunes charts? I'm looking for it, but obviously it can't go in there because the full EP's got to go out. There's only one song that can until they're all out, and obviously that was City that I'm lost in. So,
so you mentioned then you wrote the song about your girlfriend, and then earlier on when we first started chatting, you spoke about a girl that you didn't know who'd been experiencing bullying and things. Yeah. For you, as a lyric writer, is it easier for you to write about your own personal experiences or somebody else's, like the girl who was bullied? What's it easier for you to write about, do you think?
I say it's easier to write about songs that aren't related to me because sometimes I don't want to, I have wrote a lot of songs that I can relate to, but sometimes I don't want to get caught up in like myself too much as far as songwriting. I'd rather like write about other people's experiences so more people can relate, if you will. So, yeah. Okay.
So the 2 songs that aren't released at the moment, what are they called?
One of them's called 50,000 Feet, which is out in a few weeks. So that should be good. Yeah. And then the other one's called Holding On To This, and then obviously the EP will be out then, and then from then I'm just going to keep releasing songs after songs after songs. So yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Good. And but people can download that at the moment, can't they, on pre-order?
Yeah, it's on the EP's on all online stores to download from iTunes to Amazon to obviously you can pre-save on Spotify and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's like most artists, this last 12 months have struggled. They haven't been able to do live performance, of course, because of the restrictions, etc. Has that affected you a lot? Has that kind of dried things up or delayed things a lot with you?
Yeah, well, the first lockdown, like I had like a tour planned and like loads of studio sessions which had to get cancelled, and my only income really was like YouTube revenue and Spotify, which isn't really that much, if I'm being honest. So
is that not enough to live on, is it, for an artist?
Not to pay like bills, but as far as that, like not have any luxuries at all, really. No. So then months went by and I was like, what can I do? What can I do? Like, and just had to use my initiative. And then I thought, maybe try writing personal songs for people, because a lot of people always ask me to write songs. Yeah. And I've always done them like free of charge. So I thought maybe I could make a bit of money while in lockdown. Like I obviously people message me. I won't like force it upon people. Like, guess what? I write song. I like put a post saying if anyone wants a personal song, message me. And then first time I put that, like I had loads and loads of messages. And
oh really? Yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what helped me to like live through lockdown, really.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So I could imagine, because like for a lot of people, sadly, their income, more or less stopped, didn't it, for a lot of people. So you've kind of turned your talent from obviously being a singer-songwriter who can perform, who's now unable to perform because of Corona. You're just kind of channeling all that kind of positivity and experience into writing songs for individuals. Yeah. So how would they go about finding that out if they follow you on social media? Would you meet up with them on a Zoom call? Would you find out more about that individual to write a song? How does it work?
So I'll get a message, like they'll ask for a quote, and then I'll give them the price and then say, like, all I need is your background story, like memories about, whether it's about someone that they love, that they're getting married to, or someone that's sadly passed away, like happy memories we've had together, like dates and names and stuff, and then all this background information, and then I then put that into a story, their story into a song, and then write that song, and then use a program which is called Logic, and then put all the music into that, record, because I've got a home set up on my mic and stuff, and then just email them the song MP3 style with all like the lyrics and stuff, and then
And what's the kind of feedback you get from the individuals who purchase that?
Well, when I first did it, I was like, oh, I'm going to have loads of people not happy with the songs. Like, they're going to be like, oh, can I make this change? But yeah, everyone's
That's you feeling that negative bit about myself, but it's not really negative. It's you being a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Because you want to deliver 100%.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got to keep that frame of mind, you know. It's not a negative thing that people are going to, you know, pick up. It's just you being too picky because you're professional.
So luckily, no one's really asked for changes, and everyone's really liked it. Like, people said they're going to play it at the first dance, and
first dance on their weddings.
Yeah, first dance, and then I've had some for like Valentine's. I got a message the other day saying that they proposed to their partner to one of the songs. So
to one of your songs, they proposed to their partner. Fantastic!
Yeah,
that's great. So your lyrics are giving people, individuals, lifetime memories.
Yeah.
In a way, does that make you feel?
So yeah, it's great, and the fact, obviously, I can make a bit of a living while obviously getting messages like that is amazing. Because I've had the odd message, obviously, people being like, why are you charging for songs? But you know what I mean.
Do you know what? I see the comment on there, which I thought was unfair and negative, saying that you shouldn't charge for them. And I think your response was honest and professional to kind of ask her, do you work for nothing?
Yeah.
The reality of it is not many people can work for nothing, you know.
Yeah.
More or less nobody can work for nothing.
No, exactly.
You know? So you as a talented musician who's put a lot of time and efforts and invested, you know, your life into it. You give up a course in university to pursue that. It's got to be turned into a financial business, hasn't it? You know.
Yeah, that's when I get messages like that. I shouldn't really call them up on it. But like, obviously I blur the name out and stuff. But if I post it on Facebook, but get a bit. Obviously, most comments are nice, like saying, "Oh, obviously you can't do it for free." Like because I've been doing songs for ages, just putting songs up online for ages, anyways. So I thought if I can make a bit of a living off it, and people don't have to buy them, obviously. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's their choice. Yeah,
it's not.
But you're creating something that not many people can do, which comes at a price.
Yeah,
you know, they're paying for your knowledge, experience, talent.
Yeah,
you know, to give them something that they may have a 3-minute song that can be with them for life, you know, and bring them memories for life, like the couple who've, you know, got engaged to it. Is there any memorable songs, you know, ones that jump out into your mind that you've written for individuals like that?
Yeah, I've like even songs like people coming out as like gay and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like coming out stories. Like I've done songs about that. I've done cancer stories, cancer survivors. Okay. Bullying songs, depression. So it's like all these things like factored into one. It's like raising awareness on these things as well as far as, because I posted a few of the originals that I've wrote for people as well with their consent. Yeah. So it's like, because for example, if someone's struggling with depression, I'll then make it an uplifting song. Yes, so I'll make it like a positive song, like you've got this, never give up, like stay strong. And obviously, as far as coming out, obviously that's brave within itself. So loads of different factors really, which makes it very rewarding.
Well, that's good because, you know, people obviously suffering with terminal illnesses and things, obviously need a bit of a lift. I mean, I think we all need a bit of a lift at the moment, don't we? The lockdown has gone on and on and on and on, and it's brought us all down to a degree like that. So we've established you are extremely talented at writing lyrics for people you don't even know. I'm going to put you on the spot, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You were probably only about 5 years of age when this song came out, but do you remember Bob the Builder? Bob the Builder, can we fix it? Yeah. It was a BBC production about a little builder, cartoon builder, etc. And it got to #1 and things like that. Stopped me from getting to #1, but I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all. I'm putting you on the spot, Nathan, too. As you know, the wife and I, Laura, Mr. and Mrs. DIY, we want a new, modern, DIY-related song. And now being parents we want a kind of kiddie, children-orientated, related, a little bit like the Bob the Builder, jokey, catchy. Now, I don't want you to just roll it off your tongue now, as that would be impossible to ask.
I can if you want.
I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it. And because basically, Mr. and Mrs. DIY, Laura and I, we want a theme tune, a song of some sort that we don't know what we're going to do with it. We've got no plans yet, but as you know, we do the DIY classes, we do the online videos. We just think, you know, and one side of me is thinking the business side of it. I know how successful, I know how successful Bob the Builder was at the time. You probably played with Bob the Builder teddy bears when you were, 5 or 6 years of age? At that time, you know, I probably think every kid in the country did. We all knew the song because we were sick of hearing it on the radio. It was a frustrating, annoying type of song. But do you think you could do that for us? We have a chat in another week or two's time?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah? Okay.
I'll come up with something, yeah.
Brilliant. I look forward to it. Not like putting someone on the spot, is there?
Thought you would ask me to do it now or like...
No. A few more beers maybe today. So you've got this EP coming out now in April time.
Yep.
And then 4 new songs sounding exciting. The lyrics and things and the story behind them are quite good. What's next after that for you?
So hopefully everything goes back to normal. I can do a tour. But I wouldn't want to do it straight away. I want to release more music first because I want the next tour to be quite a successful one. So obviously to do that, you've got to keep releasing songs.
Yeah.
And obviously there's been a big break. So yeah, just keep releasing songs. Like I think I've got about 20 unreleased songs that I've worked on in studios with really good writers and stuff. So yeah, that's exciting. I'm sitting on a lot of songs which I wasn't really before. So. Oh
right, okay. So you're sitting on a bit of a library that you've been working on. Oh, that sounds exciting. That's good, isn't it? So let's go on a little bit of social media at the moment. You've got such a fantastic reach out and following in there. Would you find that is kind of quite instrumental in this day and age now for young artists like yourself to get your songs out there, get the recognition, get the name for yourself? Is it important?
Yeah, I'd say that obviously probably about 20 years ago, it were more like live performances and people didn't obviously use social media. But now, yeah, it's important because obviously how can you get people to your tours without posting it on social media? Like even the big artists, like they've got to post it obviously in the social medias to be like doing this tour, all these dates.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously I think in the Beatles days, it was just like one live TV show and then the sweetheart, like one live TV performance and...
That's literally it, wasn't it? The odd radio station, wasn't it, that they could go to? I know when I brought my single out, you know, I was literally, I think for 6 weeks running up and down the country going to every radio station because social media wasn't out. You know, I had to shout about it on the radio stations to sell the songs. So Nathan, we touched on earlier about your kind of, from what I see, a very loyal fan base that you've built up on social media. You've got a great following along there now. How does that kind of make you feel, you know? Do you answer all them comments yourself?
Yeah, it's quite crazy, like the amount of support that I've received online. I obviously respond myself. And yeah, just seeing people that I don't know message me is crazy. And the fact that they go out the way, they don't have to message me, like being very complimentary and they don't have to comment on my stuff or like and share, but I really appreciate it. It really means a lot. And obviously, thanks to all the people that support me, I can keep doing music. So
Yeah. Nathan, having this kind of strong loyal base that, you know, I've read some of them comments that come across on there and they're very respectful to you. Some of them are quite in awe of you, you know, and some of them are quite thankful as well for the songs. At the moment, because they're most of your audience that you can perform to or get out to with current lockdowns, does that egg you on, you know, inspire you to do more for them, do you think?
Yeah, like the fact that obviously people are supporting me the way they do, like it definitely encourages me not to give up, because if people weren't supporting me, I'd think like, oh, am I doing the right thing? So like, should I keep pursuing
what's the point?
it?
If you haven't got an audience there, what's the point of performance sort of thing?
Exactly, like the fact that I've got an audience there drives me on to prove all these people right that have supported me from day one as well.
Yeah.
From like when I didn't really have a fan base there. So yeah, and I'm really thankful that people are there and have been for years as I continue to hopefully keep pursuing music. So yeah.
Brilliant, that's good. Well, Nathan, do you know what? It's been a real insight learning a lot more about you. I've got from this a hell of a lot more than I kind of anticipated, you know, doing my own research about you on social media. it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
I've really enjoyed it.
Cheers for having me on.
It's been my very first podcast. Hopefully it won't be my last.
Yeah.
All I can do is wish you good luck with this new EP. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic success, and good luck for everything else you do therefore after. The only one thing is, on the DIY side, I know this new house you've got, you're going to be doing a bit more work, and I think you need to come down to Mr. and Mrs. DIY's workship and spend a bit more time on the tools with me.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine, by me. I need it.
Cheers, I'm empty.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's been a pleasure.
You too.
Cheers, mate.